And now it's time for the Ask the Angry Ninja Show. Alright guys, it's the Ask the Angry Ninja Show.
Ba-da-dum.
What?
What?
You jumped in early, but that's fine. Alright guys, I just want to warn everybody, if you didn't read the title, if you didn't read the description, make sure you have a box of tissues prepared, and be prepared to hear possibly me and the Ninja Wife both shedding a tear.
I'm not weak, I will cry.
When you describe one scene, if you don't cry, I'll be shocked. I'm sorry. It's an scene, because this is movies
that make us cry.
Yeah, movies that make you cry. And it's actually a shorter list than another one because we mainly watch action movies and comedies.
Disney.
Right.
I mean, I guess technically you could add any Disney movie because a parent dies.
A parent dies, but I'm so emotionally numb to parents dying in Disney movies. Unless they actually show the death in a way, it doesn't really get to me.
Coco. We should have added that one.
That movie doesn't make me cry.
Yeah, it don't make me cry either. Never mind.
Yeah, like she was old and decrepit and dying, and by doing what they did in the movie, when she does die, she finally gets to reunite with her father in the afterlife. Yeah, but she really loved her father. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing. And what they did made that happen. If he hadn't done it, then she wouldn't have, and it would have been sad.
But you know what did make me sad, though?
What?
Is that the family went all those years thinking that he just abandoned him. It's not that he got murdered by his best friend.
Right, but again, by the end of the movie, all that was redeemed. Mm-hmm. And the way that movie goes, by the end when she dies, I don't feel bad for her dying because I've seen this amazing place she's going.
Right.
It's way better than her being stuck in a wheelchair and not able to move anymore.
Yeah. Look, we didn't even need to start all this shit.
Hey, we're actually talking about a movie because I don't think that movie was sad.
I think it kind of was because he could have had all those years with Coco, but his selfish, greedy.
But now, thanks to the memory, he's going to have eternity with Coco. So yeah, it's right out there. But again, not even on the list.
No.
All right, so we're going to move on. And so we're actually going to get to the sad movies now. All right. Number one. I haven't seen it.
Our number one is P.S. I Love You.
And what was that about?
So, the woman's husband dies. But he does the sweetest thing. He sends her a letter. She gets a letter. I don't remember if it's every week or something like that. But she gets a letter helping her to move on and try to find love again. And he's just constantly there to help her. And I'm like, oh my Lord. It was just so sweet. He loved her so much that he was like, this is what I'm doing. I know I'm dying.
So he knew he was dying, so he wrote a letter he gave to her every week?
It got mailed to her, or a friend gave her. I mean, she got a letter. I think it's every week.
For how long?
I think it was months.
That's like stabbing him in the heart over and over again.
Well, I think by the time she gets the fourth or whatever, it's more of him encouraging her and him helping her move on. And
does he encourage her to go get laid?
find love again.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
It made me cry when she started getting letters.
I mean, that's emotional. That's.
Okay, so if I'm off on this movie a little bit, I'm sorry. I remember this movie made me cry because I've only watched it once because I said I'd never watch it again.
And that's one of the things I don't understand when people talk about movies that make them cry. I get it. I've watched movies. They've made me cry. 9 times out of 10, once a movie has made me sad and it's ended in a sad way like that, mm-hmm. I don't want to watch it again.
I mean, it ends happier, but it made me cry good portion of the movie, so I won't watch it again.
Yeah. We're going to hit a couple movies later that I specifically watched once and will never watch again because it's just depressing.
Yeah.
And I know people are like, I watch the movie every day. I'm like, why? And I have a replacement for number 4 now. Well, we'll get to that one in a second. It didn't make us cry, but everybody else.
Okay.
All right. Number 2.
Inside Out.
I don't know why this made you cry.
There's one scene in particular.
Oh.
One scene in particular.
Okay.
And now you know that scene.
I do know that scene. Now that you said that, I know that scene.
So they're at the bottom of the, what was it, like?
Forgotten Memories.
Yeah, the Forgotten Memory.
Where you go to no longer be remembered.
And Joy and Bing Bong, her imaginary friend, are in the magical
cart. The rocket ship that launched to the moon.
Yeah, but it's a wagon. That's it.
It's a wagon, but it's powered by imagination.
And the whole time that Bing Bong is helping, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fly Riley to the moon. We're gonna go back to And they go to the end of where Forgotten Memories go.
It's a hole.
Yeah, it's a hole. And there's too much weight for Joy to get back up over Bing Bong, the wagon, and her.
Right. They tried really hard.
And they were trying. They were singing and everything else. So he gets out without her knowing and gives it a push. And she starts singing and she's going to make it. She's like, "We're going to make it, Bing Bong." And she turns around and he is still in the hole.
Fading.
Saying, "Take Riley to the moon." And I'm like, that's a good imaginary friend. I wish I had real friends as good as that imaginary friend, okay?
Oh.
I do. And I start bawling because I'm like, oh my Lord. All he wanted to do was take the moon and now he's forgotten. How do you Yeah, and she forgot something so great. Look, you're crying already.
I mean, you got me. You're crying.
I'm not crying.
You're close.
I'm just like, yeah, that got me.
And no tear has fallen. I just got the watery eyes.
Yeah, like when he said, "Take Riley to the moon for me," and I was like, "No, you were supposed to take her."
Yeah, but everybody kind of grows up and forgets their imaginary friends.
Yeah,
it happens. It's unavoidable. And
he just wanted to take her to the moon, and then he ended up pretty much saving her whole body.
Yeah.
And she'll never know.
Nope. Unless she watches the movie.
Because, he's forgotten now. That just killed me.
And if you're a forgotten memory, you just cease to exist.
If I was Joy, I would have snuck another memory of him in there.
I'm sure she tried. She was all full of joy. She was joyous.
I would have. I'd be like, "Here's a Bing Bong song."
Okay, here's a movie, the next one, that affected me more than you, I think.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this in the past. That's because the movie has a happy ending. But there's that scene in Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, but I will talk about this anytime. They got me. I cared about toys. Like, they were trying to save each other. They did all these things. They're trying and trying and trying. And they're going towards the fire and they're fighting. And finally, they give up and accept that what's going to happen. And they all hold hands and they're going down together. And no words are spoken. They just all
hold hands.
Hold hands and look at each other. And
you know what part kills me? Jessie and Buzz.
Right? They had that love.
Because they love.
And they're going to melt away. They're going to toy heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's that, and they let that scene go longer than they had to.
It lingered.
They did that on purpose. It's like, we're gonna make these people cry over some toys. Watch this.
And most people did.
Yeah. And in the end, though, the claw
chooses who will stay and who will go.
And it chose to save them, and then they get the revenge on the bear.
Lots of.
Yeah, that movie got me. Alright, so, we're number 4, we're working on them, but we're switching real quick. And I'm going to throw this one in there just because it did make a lot of people cry. And if it hadn't been for one aspect, probably would have made me cry. But the one aspect made me ignore the other part.
What's that?
Titanic.
I hate this movie.
I hate this movie too.
You know what? We can add this. Because I did cry at one part of this movie.
What?
The very, very end. And no, so I'm sitting in the theater, right, for this movie because I was dragged there. What?
I keep going. I know what you're going to say and it's got me.
What?
Continue.
Why is this funny that I cried? Okay, so the one scene at the very, very end, I don't know why I think it's funny, it's really just sad, is when all the lifeboats are coming to see if they can find any survivors in the water. And for a minute.
Oh, okay. This is why I was laughing.
Wow.
Because you said the very end. And I guess you don't remember what the last scene of the movie is.
Oh, no, that's where she's like... Okay, so right before they say...
No, the last scene of the movie is they have the gym. The dying...
She throws the thing over there.
That's the last scene of the movie. So when you said the end,
yeah.
I thought you were going to say you were crying because she threw the diamond into the
You know what? I'd cry over that too.
So that's why I was laughing.
Okay,
So,
I actually have an emotional side. Thank you very much. I'm not heartless.
so that's why I was laughing. I literally thought that's where you were going with it, which was hilarious.
But I'm telling you, I was sitting in this theater with a bunch of other people, and they were crying on and off through this whole movie.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
No.
But there's one scene in particular, so it wasn't the very end.
Yeah.
It was right before they saved her off the
Yeah.
door, or whatever, that she could have saved her boyfriend, but she didn't really want to. Just saying. And they had the flashlights, and they're shining, and it shines on this one woman in a life vest. She's frozen to death, and she's holding her baby, who is frozen to death too. And once it shows that, oh, it was over. I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, I know, it's such a touching story. They love each other. I'm like, no, did you just see that she was holding her baby to the very end?
Yeah. And that's what I talk about. Like, if I wasn't so annoyed with Kate Winslet and the Leonardo crap story and her not and all that stuff, that scene right there,
All the people.
all
frozen.
of it would have made me cry. But I was so happy that Leonardo DiCaprio died that I missed that.
It got me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm walking through the parking lot then this movie going, she was just holding her baby. Why didn't someone try to save her? Why didn't they put her on the door?
Yeah, I was almost out of the theater for cheering when DiCaprio floated away. Yeah.
I don't know. That got me. I did cry at this one.
Yeah, so, see, I had a good plug-in.
You did.
So you swooped in.
I forgot about it because I hate this movie.
It's a horrible movie. Like, it's just bad. And the fact,
That's an unpopular opinion, by the way.
very unpopular. We're gonna be bagged on. No, but yeah, you said in the movie, I'm like, you cried when they threw the diamond in the water.
You know what? I might have to. Like you had it the whole time.
Right? Okay. So the next one. Oh.
What?
This movie. The Lion King.
Yes. That's why he moans over there. The Lion King. And everybody who has ever seen this movie knows the exact scene.
Right? Like, do we even have to say it? Like, it's the saddest. It might be one of the saddest Disney deaths.
Of a parent, yeah. Or ever.
Ever. Like, one of the saddest. Take away the Marvel, because you don't want to talk about those movies anymore, but they are part of Disney. Some of the way they did those with the human actors was really good, and they did kill a bunch. But as far as the animated movies and stuff, like, first of all, 9 times out of 10 they don't show the parent death.
Mm-hmm.
This is when they showed it, and
it wasn't just a death; it was a murder. It was a trample.
Right, and it wasn't so much the death that got me.
It was when he's like, "Dad, get up,
Dad."
Dad."
On him. So for those who haven't seen the movie, which...
It's from the 90s, you should have by now.
Spoilers, I guess. But Mufasa, the king, is trying to save Simba. Because Simba has gotten in this gorge because Scar set him up. And he's going to be trampled. And actually saves him. And then is going to get out.
And Scar puts his claws in his paws and throws him over, and then he lands, and then they trample him, and Simba comes and starts pushing him and says, "Dad, get up, Dad." It gets me every time.
Yeah. And he doesn't get up, and he just goes from paw and lock to just kind of to little paw.
And they cuddle him. And that's when Scar shows up. I'm so glad he died. But he got eaten alive. I'm so glad. I wish they would have shown that too.
Yeah, but he just lays down next to his dad, puts his paw on him. Yeah. It was a pretty emotional scene. Okay. She's broken.
It was sad.
Nobody's disagreeing with you?
I've never seen this movie. I know it goes against like girl code or whatever, but I've never seen The Notebook.
And don't. First of all, you spend this entire movie, right, with this old dude reading this Alzheimer's patient, which you figure out with him pretty quick. Okay, it's their story. Gotcha. Whatever. That was obvious, but about this relationship, first of all, the two dumbest people on the planet coming together. Like, they could have had a perfect relationship for so many years and they kept doing stupid stuff. It was ridiculous. But they finally come together. And they fall in love. And they grow old together. And everything's happy. And she, as he finishes reading the story, it goes, because the whole story is showing them in past, you know. And it gets to present time, and he's finished reading the story, and then there's that moment where her Alzheimer's clears up, and she remembers him, and that he's her husband, he is her husband, and she's like, "Oh, you brought me back again," and you're like, "Awesome."
They die, don't they?
Oh no, it gets worse than that.
Okay.
Okay, it's worse than that. And so he goes, "Yeah," and then they start having a little dinner, and they get up and start dancing together, and it's maybe like a minute-long scene.
She forgets again.
And instantly forgets, hits him, screams for a nurse, like, and it breaks him, right? And he has a heart attack, and then they're laying in hospital beds next to each other, and they're holding hands, and she remembers him again for this moment, and says, "I don't want to live without you." He goes, "I don't want to live without you either." And then they die together exactly at that moment.
It's kind of sweet.
It's kind of depressing.
It's kind of how Alzheimer's is, though.
Again, I get that, but I don't need when I go to a movie, I don't.
Why did you go see this movie?
I didn't have a say.
Okay.
She wanted to go see it.
Oh, so you went on a date.
Yeah, and she was not happy with my response to this movie.
Okay, so I'm so torn here. Am I the only person on the planet that has not seen this movie?
Don't. I wouldn't see it willingly.
Like, yeah.
And the next movie I watched by accident.
Yeah, I haven't seen this. You've seen more of these romantic movies?
Well, see, now this movie was funny.
Okay.
It was a guy trying to get a girl and it just wasn't working and she was rejecting him and there was a lot of funny to it.
It's A Walk to Remember.
Yes, I walked her. There was a lot of funny to it. I thought going in it was going to be like a romantic comedy, and I'm cool with romantic comedies. Some of them are pretty hilarious. I like the ones that lean way more towards the comedy, but you know I can handle a good joke. But this movie, so the guy's trying to get the girl. I think it's Mandy Moore, maybe.
I know that.
It's Mandy Moore, and she keeps rejecting, and finally, you know, despite all her rejections, like honestly, I don't think this movie would fly now because they would call it harassment. It would definitely not get past the woke police, but he wears her down, and she admits that she does like him, and she wants to go do stuff with him, and that she does love him, and he loves her, and right there, she's like, "But I'm going to die." And he's like, "Well, we're all going to die." He's like, "No, it's like next week. I've only got a couple more months at best. I'm going to die." And he's like, "But she spent like a year trying to get her, and that's why she was rejecting him. Not because she didn't like him, but because she knew she was dying." And the movie ends with them finishing high school and immediately getting married. And she dies like the next day. And the last scene of the movie is him sitting down. He was talking to the preacher about, you know, she finally got her one wish was to have this wedding and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, "I don't know, you know, Just put the whole movie. Oh, you got what you want. Now you did.
Okay.
Right?
Simple wishes.
Die. No. No. There needed to be a miracle cure at the end. Their love healed something.
Yeah, that's not how it works, honey.
Yeah, well, I don't need a movie of that in my life. Other people can have it. I need warning before something like that. No. Just like another movie like that makes me mad. Just Bicentennial Man and A Click.
Yeah.
I like Click. I like Bicentennial Man. Went into both those movies expecting good fun time comedies. Came out depressed.
Yeah, kinda.
Alright. And this one I've seen itty bitty parts of.
Alright, so our next one is My Girl.
Do you need the tissues?
Okay, so this one gets me. This one really does. And it's one scene, it's always that one scene. Like, I have to skip through this scene if I watch this movie. Because it is a good movie, and it is one of those movies, and yes, it makes me cry, but I do watch it, and I watched all the sequels too, because I do like it. But, so she has her best friend.
Yes. Would have ended up being her boyfriend, really.
And he is deathly allergic to bees.
Yes.
And
You gotta push through this, honey. You gotta tell the story, because I haven't seen it.
so they're in the woods, and I forgot why he was, I guess I skipped the scene now. I forgot why he was poking at the beehive or whatever. And he gets stung over and over and over. And he loses his glasses and stuff. And by the time they find him and stuff, he didn't make it. And her dad's telling her, and it goes to his funeral. And she walks up, and she starts flipping out, because she's like, where's his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. And they have to kind of take her because she's so worried he doesn't have his glasses because he can't see. Not that, he's dead. Like, she loses her best friend. Probably the one person she loves more than her dad is her best friend in the whole wide world. And in a minute, he's gone. And in the scene, you kind of, she's young, so maybe she can't process it right. But when she's just hollering, he's got to have his glasses because he can't see. You can't process that because you're like, even watching it, you want to go through that screen, you want to hug her. And Lord knows if you've ever lost a best friend, you're sitting there, you're bawling your eyes out, going, honey, I'm right there with you. And as soon as she starts flipping out about his glasses, it kills me because it's like she's not ready to say goodbye. I mean, who would be? Who'd be ready to say goodbye to their best friend that they've had for years? Right?
Who's really ever ready to say goodbye to anybody?
Yeah, that's true. So I guess it's kind of like a processing thing that let's not focus that he's not coming back. Let's focus on what's missing instead of he's going to be missing your whole entire life now. Yeah. I'm sorry.
She's not sorry. I think that's a really good description of that movie and that scene. And I don't have any jokes to make about this one because I don't want to get stabbed.
It kills me every time. Even talking about it, the fact that she is so worried about his glasses. Yeah. Look, we made a depressing one.
It's not depressing, it's a real one. You're just depressed now.
Yeah, that one, yeah. Maybe we should put that somewhere in the middle so we had a pickup.
No, that would need to be the end because if you did that in the middle, you can ruin the rest of them. Alright, guys, now that we've made everybody horribly sad, It's time to move on for the night. Hopefully everybody has a better day than the people in these movies.
And movies, if you don't want to cry, don't watch.
Yeah, don't watch. Alright, everybody have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. It's all part of the Ninja Podcast Network with all the shows featuring Ask the Angry Ninja Show, Not a Kid's Game, presented by the Angry Ninja, which is our D&D podcast, the Ninja News and Politics Show, Sports Talk with the Ninja and J-Mo, and our newest podcast, Outrageous Stories with the Ninja, featuring occasional special guests. Great shows, great stuff. If you want to reach any of us, you go at asktheangryninja@gmail.com. You can reach us on Twitter at cman2342. You can get us on Facebook on the Ask the Angry Ninja Show Facebook page. Any of those places, if you want to support us, we appreciate that. Go to patreon.com/worstjokes. And if you join high enough tier, you'll get a free gift. And we just appreciate any support and feedback. You guys have a wonderful night, and we'll holler at you later.